United Benefice in Lockdown, an audio collage record of life between March and July 2020. An L-Art production, devised, shaped and created by Emma Rucastle Novell from written contributions from members of the community of the United Benefice of Warton, Borwick and Yealand. Voices provided by Marjorie Ashton, Pam Bentley, Liam Burford Hothersall, Elizabeth Figg, Robin Figg, Julia Harris, Connie Lawrence, Hannah Lawrence, Martha Lawrence, Michaela Lawrence, Jane Lever, David Novell, Malik Luther Novell, Trinity Joy Novell, Barbara Rucastle, Emma Rucastle Novell, Angela Sewell and Stephen Sewell. Music from Warton St Oswald's Church Choir, directed by Stephanie Burford.
In the first few weeks when we were locked down, the peace and tranquility were amazing. Virtually no vehicular noise. The joy of walking and cycling the quiet roads was like being in a bygone age. Hearing the birdsong so vibrant and uninterrupted, particularly while walking in the woods.
I've enjoyed sitting in the sunshine in the garden and watching my husband working. I'm afraid I'm not really a gardener, watching the bees and the butterflies exploring the flowers and the dragon and damselflies swooping over the pond.
In fact, thanks to being blessed with living in such a delightful area, there have been lots of things to recommend it.
The best thing about lockdown for me has been the absence of timed commitments, like meetings, so tasks can be tackled in an enjoyable, unhurried fashion.
Early lockdown was almost a relief, a chance to retreat, and we were lucky to have two of our children, 19 and 21, stuck in the house with us. We've had some family times to treasure, with the occasional hookup online with the rest of the family. This included the chance to share, remotely, our firstborn grandchild, born on Easter Day. What a gift!
The best things. Great weather early on, growing things in the garden, walking the area and visiting streets I haven't been down since childhood. The ever-changing views across the bay. Zoom meetings with friends, although hardly my favourite form of communication. Time together as a couple, praying, reminiscing about the past, appreciating all that we have been blessed with in life so far. Seeing and experiencing acts of kindness. Baking, reading, jigsaws, playing socially distanced golf without queues anywhere on the course.
My eldest daughter phoned me and said, "You are having a taste of what your retirement should be like, Mum."
Having time to catch up on all those jobs you know you should have done and clean out the dark recesses of those cupboards you always threatened to tackle.
The removal of the treadmill of weekly, daily, monthly routines and pressures.
Being forced to take a break from all the normal hustle and bustle of life.
Time to complete home projects. A wildlife-friendly garden. A really clean house. Temporarily.
Weekly newsletters received from great-grandchildren as far away as Stockport and Brunei, telling me what they're doing, homeschooling, expeditions and adventures, birds, frogs, spiders, crocodiles. Also regular reports from Wales, sheep, mountains. Lovely. London and Chorley.
Making the effort to contact friends, especially those living alone, to make sure they are coping and having the time to chat with them, knowing you are helping to ease their loneliness.
The school day is over quicker.
It has been a joy to find local tradespeople who have stepped up to offer additional services during lockdown, and I hope people continue to support them once this is over.
I had a day off work just pre-lockdown and returned to find that my team had been split in two and had to sit in separate areas of the office. This lasted 2 weeks before the office closed. I've been working from home ever since, likely to only return to the office at the end of the year. There will be no canteen.
On my last day at work, I was told to go home by taxi. I had been the only one on the bus for weeks. Now travel with a mask or visor. Buses now sprayed with an antiseptic mist.
I have desperately missed my family and friends.
Missing people. Family, friends, church family. The missing hugs and informal chats. The feeling of being in an isolated bubble.
Being unable to hug our families.
Not seeing friends face to face.
Not seeing friends.
Not seeing friends.
Not being able to see my dad. or give my stepmum some respite from my dad as his dementia escalated during lockdown.
Grandparents have missed the closeness with kids.
Not meeting family or friends, not being able to have them to stay, not being used as a stopping place when they are off to the Lake District.
Missing church.
I miss my routines and my activities, all of which involve social interaction with friends. Choirs, the gym and the hospice, to name a few. I've always thought that I was pretty happy with my own company, but now I realise that has its limitations.
Not meeting my Scrabble group or WI.
We've missed singing. It's a big part of our lives.
My stepmum sent a very innocent photo on the phone of my dad asleep with their dog one afternoon. I took one look at it and bawled because I couldn't see him.
Desperately miss church, and in particular singing. Sacred music has always been my form of prayer. The words of the hymns and the anthems have meant so much to me over the years. Many of them I know off by heart, as they are part of my personal prayer pattern.
The thing I've missed most about attending church services is the face-to-face communications with other people there.
Missing the camaraderie of our congregation.
We've all missed mini church.
The online services were good and usually accessible. A great feeling of satisfaction when I actually managed to make it work on my laptop. Always audible, sometimes more so than in church. That was good.
The best moment of an online service is the chuckle from Elizabeth when all doesn't run completely to plan.
Our favourite parts of the online services are
seeing people we haven't seen in a long time.
The photos used in the services that other people and us have sent in. It felt like we were still part of the church.
The work behind the tremendous progress in the presentation of online services has been much appreciated.
The first service online and from the vicarage. It felt reassuring, knowing others are online sharing the experience.
Dependable, encouraging, creative, comforting, informative.
Plus, Robin modelling his Pentecost crown.
The reassurance that regular prayer and services were continuing, seeing other people being included as readers, intercessors. The way in which we have adapted to a different way of worshipping, the little glitches that show the humanity behind the technology.
The United Benefice presence online in 5 words or fewer. Trying hard to reach out.
Strength and security in union.
calming, family, togetherness, happy, musical.
No parish magazines to deliver.
Increasingly professional and inclusive.
Comforting, receiving much needed spiritual food. Good things about lockdown. The computer, the telephone, rereading books I read years ago, not having to go shopping, a fortnightly delivery arranged by my granddaughter in Epsom. Give her a list, hey presto it arrives, arrange payment, job done.
Discovering new walks on our doorstep. There are so many lovely walks around here that we seldom look for new adventures. But as we walk for miles now every day, it has been necessary to look for new routes to relieve the boredom. We have not been disappointed.
My bread making skills are being constantly perfected.
Having a son, aged 40 on day 3 of lockdown, living with me, who got bored and decided cooking would be a really good interest.
Eating too much, drinking too much, and sore knees from too much walking.
Small community belonging. Clap for carers. An informal socially distanced VE Day tea party. Shopping for others. And the arrival of several baking fairies. Definitely not good for the waistline.
The inspiration of Colonel Tom Moore to us all. Inspiration of Vera Lynn.
The sense of coming together for the clapping for key workers and the amount of appreciation that key workers now get. After years of under-appreciation, it is fantastic.
The dancing on the meadows before the clapping, which created a fabulous community spirit.
Appreciating family, friends and childcare so much more.
Having a family to help me when I'm ill.
Rapid improvement in the ability to use technology.
Learning to Zoom for family gatherings and Skype for others.
Breakfast FaceTime with the grandchildren.
Being able to see our families on FaceTime.
Grandma and Grandad being able to read the kids' bedtime stories through this.
Introducing the grandchildren to the Wizard of Oz and loving how much they loved it.
What's Dorothy's dog called?
Toto.
When she goes to Oz, who does she meet?
Scarecrow.
Yeah, and who else?
Tin Man. Lion.
And what does Scarecrow need?
A brain.
A brain. And what does Tin Man need? The thing that makes him love people.
Hot.
And what does the lion need?
To be brave.
To be brave.
And to be king.
And what does the witch say? I'm melting. That's right. So what does she have to say to go home?
There's no voice like her.
And that's the story of the
Wizard.
My nephew and niece making me a lovely big banner for my birthday, and my sister making me a very thoughtful playlist of songs that she knows I love.
I posted a small flowery handbag from my wardrobe to my 6-year-old granddaughter, who was pleased with the bag and told her mummy,
The best thing about the bag is it smells of nanny.
For me, at the start, the best thing was no school run. Now, the worst thing is no school run.
A couple of weeks ago, we were able to get together with one of my daughter's school friends at the school playground. When it was time to leave, my daughter asked if she could give her friend a hug. I said, probably not, and they both planted big kisses on each other's faces. I couldn't say a thing.
Unfortunately, lockdown prevented me from being with my daughter in Canada for the birth of her first child. I'm waiting with bated breath for the FCO guidance to change so that I can finally meet baby Imogen in person.
I've cried because I couldn't upload my daughter's schoolwork into the school website. Still can't. So took photos of it all and emailed it. I ranted about it for days till my sister-in-law told me it's not that important.
Small things have upset me and been blown into huge things in my head.
Feeling on the edge throughout most of lockdown and trying to stay calm without being able to get help from anywhere.
Trying to keep the kids happy when we are limited to what we can do with them.
The incredible tiredness from working nights, extra shifts and getting hardly any sleep with the kids being off school.
Having our cat be put down on my birthday after she was run over by our house.
Signed off work for 2 months with a viral infection. 111 said rest and take paracetamol. No test available as non-NHS worker.
Being very ill with shingles round the eye and indescribable excruciating nerve pain in the head. Never be ill at the weekend or in a pandemic. 111 took 3 hours to answer, plus another hour before a doctor spoke to me. Repeat on 3 consecutive days. 4 days before any kind of pain relief that worked.
The seemingly endless sad tales you hear and the inability to do anything to help. A very good friend of my husband's has had a serious psychological reaction to the virus and has been in a secure mental health unit since the end of March, having tried to take his own life, something totally and utterly out of character for him. His wife has not, until recently, been able to see him. When she did, she said he was barely recognisable. He has lost 4 stone in weight from a slender start and seems unresponsive to any medication they try him with. The medics say his psychosis is a direct result of the virus.
Hearing that my dad was very paranoid and scared as his dementia got worse and not being able to visit him.
Constant talk of COVID-19 on the TV, the radio and in the newspapers. We thought Brexit was bad, but this is even worse. The one thing they have in common is that they are both extremely difficult problems to solve, and nobody has all the answers. I fear we have an awful lot more to endure on both topics.
For my teenage daughter, having been away from friends, she's worried about actually being able to socialise again. The awkwardness of it, not knowing what to talk about, in her mind, because she hasn't been doing anything. She has also not wanted to go into shops on her own, afraid of being told off.
My husband and I have differed quite a lot over this pandemic, which has caused 1 or 2 heated conversations. He is very blasé about it, not taking it seriously enough in my view, and I just want to do as I'm told and we'll get back to normal quicker. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I hope.
Our group meeting at WI did not take place on St George's Day. I'd bought a hat specially from the choir jumble sale. Ah well, there's always next year.
Early morning visits to Carnforth to shop to avoid people.
Socially distanced walk with my family once a month.
Very bad hair. Needing a tooth repair. Crowds of people ignoring the guidance. Riots on the streets. Litter on the beaches and in the countryside. Wearing a mask and blue plastic gloves while shopping.
Still doing market research on masks. Not found one that does not make me feel nauseous. How do the NHS staff cope?
They're wondering what the new world would be like when all this is in the past.
Being completely in tune with the Facebook meme, which stated, "My desire to remain informed about world events is currently at odds with my desire to remain sane."
My children have adapted to it all. Maybe the innocence of youth.
My teenager enjoys the freedom of doing what she wants, and when. She loved sitting outside and doing her art.
Delivering village hub leaflets in the area where I live.
Delivery of WI updates to keep us all in touch. Not everyone online on Zoom. One of our members locked down in Tasmania when should have been home.
Shielding an elderly parent.
Do we all have to run an office from our home nowadays?
And what about toilet roll? Did anyone ever really run out?
By far the worst thing for me about lockdown has and continues to be the lack of physical contact. I'm so grateful not to be living alone, as I think the absence of just a hug or an arm around my shoulder would be devastating for me. I don't think I truly realised until now how important such contact is to me.
It's been a time to appreciate family more than ever and to enjoy every tiny contact. Teaching toddlers new songs has been an absolute joy.
Hanging on the wall, monkey battle,
Both our sons live too far away to realistically be able to see them. Our eldest has suggested meeting up at a midway point several times recently, but I'm not enthusiastic. As to see him yet not be able to hold him would upset me greatly.
It has been a time of fear, great sadness, and also appreciation of the hard work of many people who contributed to keeping society well fed and healthy.
The consistently bad news on radio and TV news, which seem to aim to make us as frightened and miserable as possible. What happened to old-fashioned morale boosting? There is always some good news if you look for it. I'm old enough to remember much worse times. Come on, you are alive. Be thankful. Enjoy it.
What am I missing about being in church? Everything. The online offering is simply a reminder to me of what we are missing, though it's a relief to be back in church rather than the earlier venues. I'm looking forward to the day we can return, if only for private prayer initially, and singing.
Missed most. People, the choir, receiving the sacraments physically.
Participation in services. How much easier it seems to respond during live rather than streamed services. The feeling of being present in a long line of worshippers. The church buildings. To begin with, it felt like being excluded from something that was very important to me and to the village. Missing the singing and all the different church groups.
Gathering together, hearing our fabulous choir and seeing Robin in the flesh.
Missing everyone being so accepting and friendly, despite bringing two noisy and lively young children.
Not chatting to other members of the congregation and getting to know them.
Coffee stop.
The choir.
Not being able to drop into church when nobody else is there for a few quiet moments.
The sense of calm and peace.
Being aware how hard Robin and Elizabeth have worked for us during this time.
I have missed the Christian fellowship that comes with church attendance. I miss receiving the bread and wine at the Eucharist. I have missed singing with the choir and the challenge of new and difficult pieces, plus the enjoyment of then being able to sing it to help others in their worship.
Online service has provided a moment's peace and time for reflection in what seems to be an otherwise hectic week, despite lockdown. It makes me feel part of the church community.
I think it is important to maintain some sort of streamed online presence so that those unable to attend church can remain part of the church family. It may also be a good way of making contact with seekers.
Favourite moment. The day the Wi-Fi system began to work perfectly and it became easy to follow and join in.
The unscripted bits. Robin's dog breaking in. Elizabeth playing a bit of music. A bit early. The very first time, Robin invited us to enjoy the refreshments after the service, which made me laugh out loud.
Robin's dog Zoe taking part in the service from the vicarage.
The unexpected animal moments. The dog, birds, sheep bleating in the background.
The dog did add a frisson of excitement in the early days.
The wonderful effort Robin and his family put into the services for Holy Week, from the dining room right down to the fire for the vigil and the tomb in the garden.
The atmosphere of reverence.
Also love the photographs of church members, which made me feel closer to them.
United Benefice in lockdown, bringing us together despite all.
An essential.
Uniting.
Christian.
Presence.